Well, it's Pastor Bill, and it is also Good Friday 2020. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and maybe give you some things to think about and reflect on, to be grateful for during this day and this holy week and this weekend now that is quickly upon us. The passage that came to my mind is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18. And it says, the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but for us who are being saved, it is the power of God. And I just got to thinking about the message of the cross. I mean, we think so often about the events leading up to the cross. I reread John's chapters 18 and 19 and got to remembering the events that surrounded this holy week and this weekend now as it begins to come to a focal point. Jesus taking his disciples to the garden to pray. So much is on his mind and heart. He just agonizes during this prayer time. Somewhere in the evening, Judas brings in some others and they arrest Jesus. He's betrayed and now he's taken before the high priest. Allegations are made. Ridiculous things are said. Nothing that would hold up in the court of law. And then finally, Jesus is taken from there to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. The reason? The Jewish authorities can't invoke the death penalty, but the Roman governor can. And that's exactly what they're hoping for. The message of the cross. In the second letter that Paul wrote to the church of Corinth in chapter 5, verse 21, it says, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. The message of the cross is one of substitution, where Jesus takes our place. It's one of exchange, our sins for his righteousness. It's not a fair exchange by any stretch of the imagination. The message of the cross is us not getting what we do deserve and gaining what we could never deserve. It is foolishness to those who are perishing. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem fair. There's no justice in it. But to those of us who are being saved, it is the power of God. It's all about the power of God in that moment. The power of God to save, to reconcile, to change hearts, to transform minds. It's the power of God that gives you and I hope. It brings joy. It brings peace. It reminds us of how deeply loved we are. And ultimately, it reminds us that he is the rock of our salvation. And when everything else gives way, it's the place. He's the one in which we stand and we find our foundation and our hope. And so as we head towards Sunday morning, we pause on Good Friday to remember, to reflect, and to be grateful for what Jesus did for us. I love you. I'll see you Sunday.